Thank you, Peter. Now I'm going to do something really un-IBM. I'm actually not going to have any slides except for one that's actually a bit of a demonstration. Now, the surge in the adoption of artificial intelligence has been met by a huge amount of excitement, a huge amount of amazement in the capabilities that intelligent automation actually offers, and in some cases, a fair bit of fear. According to IDC, worldwide spending on artificial intelligence systems is expected to grow to about $60 billion in 2021. And that's up from $8 billion in 2016. And that's as systems that learn and reason are applied in both commercial and consumer settings. Now, that speed and adoption and the innovation that brings is absolutely staggering. But it's also interesting to note that of the top ASX 200 CEOs, only 6% of them actually have a background in technology, whereas 50% have a background in finance. I was also going to give a bit of an explanation about what artificial intelligence actually is. No, and it actually supports everything that Richard sort of indicated about finding insight through noise. So I'm going to give a bit of a demonstration here if I can make it work. Why isn't it working? Oh, there we go. All right, so we've got a whole heap of noise.
She writes to her brother every day.
What did people hear then? Did people hear a sentence? Did anyone hear anything that made sense? This is actually what was said.
She writes to her brother every day.
Now I'm going to play the first unfiltered again.
She writes to her brother every day.
Who heard it? Everyone hear it? Okay. So I really like that example because it really brings artificial intelligence back to something that everybody can understand, your own brain. So we train our brain to be able to interpret information, make inferences, what we're hearing, what we're feeling, what we're seeing around us, against a set of data to be able to ask further questions or to make a decision. Now, if you apply that logic to a virtual agent, which is communicating with a customer, trying to find out exactly what they're asking for, you can see how artificial intelligence can filter out the noise and actually find out what actually is required. Likewise, an engineer sitting on a LNG facility 700 kilometres off the coast of Perth, wanting to understand what incidents potentially could happen today based on a whole corpus of knowledge, either in document form, in systems, or even observations that have been recorded in some shift handover log, you can see how actual insight can be generated out of a whole heap of noise. So the rise of artificial intelligence is directly related to the phenomenon of data, which is effectively the world's new natural resource. Within this growing body of digital data, whole human-centred potential. We can help defeat cancer. We can help reverse climate change. We can manage the complexities of a global economy and the disadvantaged within that economy. We've also seen examples, I don't know whether you were at Think last week, but we saw examples of how artificial intelligence is being used to predict future refugee crises, to help world government and government agencies actually address refugee problems. And it can also improve access to services for underserved populations. But with all those benefits, there are some influential voices that are worried about AI's potential to be misused or abused, to introduce intended or even unintended bias in decision making, to violate personal privacy, or to eliminate jobs. So as we contemplate artificial intelligence in the future and today, what can we learn from our automated past, especially about jobs? So automation of tasks isn't new. It's been around for 500 years. Throughout history, automation has been an opportunity to create new value from the balance of people, process and technology. So if you think back way in the past to the Mayans created aqueducts. Those aqueducts were used to transport water from water sources to their farms. Through the invention of the aqueduct, farmers no longer had to spend hours every day carrying water to their fields. They could instead focus in on cultivation and scale. Then if you think to 1712, the invention of the Newcomen engine, steam-powered pump. Now, it was used to pump water from the bottom of a mine shaft to enable people to dig deeper. Now, at the time, that changed the nature of the coal industry in the UK. But think forward a few years with James Watt and the advances that he made that ushered in the industrial age. So the engine therefore became the ability to mass manufacture goods. It changed the whole agri-economy of multiple countries, and it also changed the whole idea of transportation. So people no longer lived and died in the same village. They were able to migrate and move. It opened up new trade. It opened up new jobs, but it also eliminated quite a number of jobs that created huge structural change within economies. And a new profession was born as well, that of the engineer. So the question, I suppose, is, what is today's engineer? Because there will be a new profession that's created around artificial intelligence. But then if you think about the internet and what it did to the ability to do business, it ushered in the era of the outsourced call centre, the outsourced service centre in India and Philippines and numerous countries around the world. And if you think about artificial intelligence and what artificial intelligence actually is going to be used for, even at the most basic level, there's going to be huge structural changes within the economies of India and the Philippines as a result of the shift of that type of work to artificial intelligence engines. So it's not only a problem for business, it's also a huge society problem as well. And we need to all work together in order to solve and make sure that it's handled in an equitable manner. So this shift, moving the burden of processes from humans to technology, again has the potential to redesign the way work gets done within an enterprise. As increasingly more and now more complicated tasks are performed by process automation and artificial intelligence, humans are free to engage in higher valued tasks. So artificial intelligence has officially given everybody a promotion. Just like the cottage industries and the water carriers were displaced by earlier technological advances, so too will our work change as digital labour assumes tasks previously completed by humans. The Foundation for Young Australians' New Work Smarts report in 2017 analysed over 20 billion hours of work completed by 12 million Australian workers across 400 occupations to predict skills and capabilities that will be needed in 2030. It predicts young workers will on average spend 30% more time per week learning, 100% more time at work solving problems, and more than 77% more time using science, technology, maths and engineering skills than the same jobs demand now. Workers will need to become better problem solvers and communicators, having to use enterprise soft skills for an average of 12 hours each week, which is up 90%, and critical thinking for 15 hours each week, which is up 40%. Unfortunately, however, the research that IBM has done finds that only 20% of leaders have yet to establish plans to retrain or reskill their workforce. 1 in 3 business leaders agree that they will need to create net new jobs for the artificial intelligent technologies within their organisation, but most leaders admit that they do not currently have the talent needed to support existing AI capabilities, such as data scientists and those with machine learning skills, and will need to either hire or retrain for those skills. So the conversation around artificial intelligence and the workforce isn't about preparing workers to be made jobless. Rather, it's about making sure that workers across all professions have the skills that they will need to reap the benefits of the new technologies, and that we are providing multiple pathways for those skills to be acquired through the stages of a person's life. Restless reinvention of technical skills will be the norm. In addition, all workers will need the adaptive skills to be able to work alongside increasingly capable machines. That's why, taking on point that Richard was making, we should be focusing on science, technology, engineering, arts and technology, STEAM, not just STEM, to help students think differently, challenge ideas, create, adapt and be resilient. And those are skills that last a lifetime. There are an increasing number of jobs in today's tech industry that do not always require a 4-year university degree. These new collar roles prioritise capabilities over credentials, often in the fastest growing fields: cloud, cyber risk, design and cognitive computing. They require skills that can be learnt through vocational training, coding camps, certifications, and, to give IBM a plug, IBM's PTech school model that directly addresses both education and workforce development issues. PTech provides youth, particularly in regional locations, with an education opportunity that enables them to earn a 2-year degree along with the skills required to continue their education or garner new collar jobs. Over 25 major employers across Australia are committed to PTech, including Bendigo Bank, Telstra, Jetstar and Ergon Energy. We have learnt something over 100 years of inventing and introducing transformational technologies and of guiding their responsible adoption and use. This experience has taught us that it's both pragmatic and wise to establish principles to guide what we develop and bring to the world and how we do so. As per Alan's material, trust is today's new licence to operate. Building trust requires transparency, clarity and grounding in real science. It must be guided by societal norms, legal and regulatory compliance, security and protection of privacy and personal information. Now, setting that framework is a complicated task, requiring research, significant cross-industry collaboration and multidisciplinary discussion and sharing of ideas. In that spirit, IBM published our set of principles for the cognitive era at the World Economic Forum in Davos last year. And we followed up this year with our view on data responsibility, inclusion and trust. And that was with the aim of sparking industry-wide and indeed a society-wide dialogue on the fundamental questions that must be answered in order to really achieve the economic and societal potential of AI. Now, just in summary, the three main areas of those principles are purpose. The first one is purpose. The purpose of AI and cognitive systems should be to enhance and extend human capability, not replace it. The second one is about transparency. We must be transparent about when and for what purpose AI is deployed, about the major sources of data used to train and inform the system, and also about the algorithms that fashion that data into insight. And the third one is around skills. So it shouldn't be an ivory tower of elite individuals carrying these skills. The developers of AI applications have a responsibility of enabling students, workers and citizens to take advantage. Okay. It's also important to note that there are realistic concerns that the data sets and algorithms shaping the future of AI are not representative of global society. So if you think about the voice of AI and who's actually developing that voice, you need to ensure that that voice is representative of society, that it's got race, it's got gender, ethnicity and disability equality in terms of that voice that we are giving these artificial intelligence engines. For cognitive systems to fulfil their world-changing potential, it's vital that people have the confidence in their recommendations, judgments and uses. For over a century, IBM has reinvented itself, from the beginnings of time clock cards, through to calculators and typewriters, through to today's artificial intelligence, cloud, and the exciting quantum computing. We have learned over that long history that those responsible for driving technological progress have an obligation to ensure that new innovations solve society problems without trampling social values. As policymakers, business leaders and citizens contemplate the future of work and life in the age of abundant data, those helping usher in this new era have an obligation to be transparent in their purposes and their intent. New technologies like intelligent automation and artificial intelligence are creating the need for organisations to rethink their model of skills development and ideas creation. Technology will be all-inclusive, completely pervasive and accessible to everybody. We face an imminent, profound transformation in the workforce, and we must prepare for this by helping our students, our employees and our communities get ready for it, and to have the skills to thrive on it. So as business leaders in this room, as you continue your own transformation journeys, enabled by intelligent automated processes and enhanced by new technologies like AI, consider three things. Think big, huge potential around the use of AI. Work differently and ethically, but please do not let it remove our humanity.